All right, aspirants, welcome. Today, we are breaking down the really intricate relationship between India and Sri Lanka. We're going to cover everything you need to know for your exams, from the big picture policies all the way down to the key data points that will make your answers really shine. So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We're breaking it down into 6 key areas. This structure is going to give you a really clear framework, which is perfect for organizing your notes and, of course, for writing those fantastic exam answers. Let's get right into it.
Okay, first things first. We need to get a handle on the core principles that really guide India's whole approach to its closest maritime neighbor. You can think of this as the bedrock of the entire relationship. Now, here's a term you absolutely need to have in your notes: Mahasagar. It's not just some fancy acronym, it's India's whole strategic vision for the seas. And if you look at a map, Sri Lanka is right in the heart of it. So its stability, its security, well, that's crucial for the prosperity of the entire Indian Ocean region.
And you'll see this all fits perfectly under India's big picture policy, the neighborhood first policy. So whenever you're writing about India-Sri Lanka relations, these two concepts, neighborhood first and Mahasagar, should be your opening punch. They set the entire strategic context.
All right, moving on to the political side of things. This is where consistent, high-level talks have been absolutely key to keeping the momentum going and really strengthening the partnership.
You know, what's really striking when you look at this timeline is just the sheer frequency of these high-level visits. And notice the pattern here? New Sri Lankan leaders almost always make India their first overseas stop. That's not a coincidence, you know? It's a really powerful diplomatic signal that shows just how much both countries prioritize this relationship.
And the key takeaway here is that these visits weren't just photo ops. They actually led to major documents and frameworks that are guiding the partnership right now. If you can memorize the names of these joint statements, it's going to add some serious weight to your answers. It shows you really get the policy evolution.
Okay, let's talk money and development. This is where the numbers really start to paint a powerful picture of the partnership. This part is a bit data heavy, so let's walk through it together.
So first up, let's get our bearings with the trade figures. With a total trade of over $5.5 billion, India has always been one of Sri Lanka's biggest trade partners. This number is a really important one to remember.
Now this table clearly shows the trade balance is tipped in India's favor. And that's why it's so important to mention the ongoing talks for an Economic and Technology Cooperation Agreement, or ECTA. The whole idea behind ECTA is to deepen this trade relationship and, make it a little more balanced.
But it's not just about trade, right? India's role as a first responder is huge, and this number, nearly $4 billion in assistance during the 2022 economic crisis, this is a perfect example of that neighborhood-first policy in action. This was all about credit lines for fuel, for food, for medicine, stuff that literally helped stabilize the country when things were really tough.
Okay, the connectivity vision. This comes up in exams all the time. So I've got a simple little trick for you, a mnemonic to help you remember all the core parts, so you don't blank out under pressure.
Just remember DBAM. It's super simple. D for digital, E for energy, E for economic, P for people to people, A for air, and M for maritime. And if you can link each letter to a real example, like UPI for digital or the Jaffna Airlink, well, that's how you make an answer truly stand out. And these are the projects that you can actually see on the ground, the things that really affect people's lives. When you're asked for examples, talking about the huge 60,000 house program or the Suasaria ambulance service, that shows you have a real, deep understanding of the on-the-ground impact of this partnership.
Okay, let's switch gears to defense and security. This is super important for regional stability, and, it ties right back to that Mahasagar vision we talked about earlier. It's all about keeping the seas safe and secure for everyone.
All right, here's a classic spot where aspirants get tripped up, the military exercises. But it's actually pretty easy to remember. SLINX is for the Navy. Just think, SL for Sri Lanka, I for India, N for naval, and EX for exercise. Easy, right? And Mitra Shakti is the one for the Army. Getting this straight is key, especially for those multiple choice questions.
And that's the thing, it goes way beyond just these annual exercises. We're talking about building up capacity, about surveillance, and about being that first responder when a crisis hits. If you can mention the Indian Navy's role in the MT New Diamond and MV Express Pearl incidents, it shows you get the real-world practical side of this security partnership.
And finally, we get to what is, you could say, the very foundation of this entire relationship, the deep cultural and educational links that bind the two nations.
This is the soft power, the connection that has lasted for over 2.5 millennia and gives the partnership a really unique strength.
I mean, just look at these numbers. The scale of cooperation in education is just massive. We're talking over 700 student scholarships every year, plus specialized training for 1,500 civil servants. This shows a really deep investment in Sri Lanka's human capital. And also, knowing the term IOTs, or Indian origin Tamils, is pretty important for understanding the social fabric of this relationship.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So for your final revision, let's pull together all the most important facts and terms. Think of this as your quick recall slide right before you walk into the exam hall.
These are the numbers you'll want to have memorized. Write them down, make flashcards, whatever works for you. 5.54 billion in trade, 60,000 houses built, 1,200 military training slots every year. Quoting these precise figures is what makes an answer credible and data-driven.
And here's your jargon buster slide. You have to know what these mean. No excuses. Being able to quickly define Mahasagar, explain the purpose of ECTA, or tell the difference between Slinex and Mitra Shakti, that's absolutely essential.
So, we've gone through all the pillars of this incredibly important partnership. But as you're studying, I want you to think about this question. What's going to be the main driver of this relationship for the next 10 years? Is it going to be economic connectivity, regional security, or that timeless people-to-people connect? Coming up with your own take on this will help you tackle any analytical question they throw at you. Good luck with your studies.